Okay, so can anybody tell me, if you remember, what is validation? Just try from your own, broken words, no problem. You don't have to be perfect. I mean, you need to speak about it. You need to talk about it. That's more important. And even if your answer is not right, I'm not going to give you any grade here. So try. What do you understand by validation? Give me, something. Tell me. What do you understand? What do you mean by validation?
Validation means creating a documented profile.
Documented profile
Or evidence.
Evidence.
Okay.
With
You
high degree
close.
of assurance and efficiency.
Okay. Very good.
Legalize the process of something like equipment.
Documented evidence that assures that a system or equipment is working accurately as it's as predetermined, and also as in its quality attributes.
That's good, but I didn't ask you to read it.
Well, no, I have it. I have my notes, but it's in my words.
Yeah, that's good. What I want you to speak your mind, what you understand by it, it's because, that's where it starts from. First, basic, you need to understand what is validation.
In my understanding, it will be authenticating something with the proper proof of evidence that this thing or particular thing is working properly or functioning properly, with the proof that is, what is it called? Authentic, like a document, like proof of what is it called? I'm lacking the word, but it is proving something with the evidence that it is working properly.
Okay.
That is the validation.
Yeah, very close. Yeah, close, you're close. Anybody else wants to try?
I think it's basically a process of documenting in order to assure that a system is working properly, in order to assure it's accurate and reliable.
Okay. Can somebody tell me in layman word, like maybe in Nepali language, tell me, what do you understand by validation?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Avas. Now we can hear you.
Yeah, so simply is to validate the data of the company or of the organization, so that we want to make sure that it complies or it follows the industry standard or the regulation, or so we are in compliance with the industry regulation. So we're simply validating the data or the result or the input or the output of the company.
Okay, so just give you a quick recap. So the purpose of validation process is to provide, remember this, to provide a high degree of assurance that a specific process, in this case, computer system, will consistently produce a product, control information or data which meets predetermined specifications and quality attributes. That's your validation definition, and you need to understand this. And no matter how you're going to understand, maybe in your own language or your own way, but this is the definition, and you need to have these words in your mouth. When I ask you what is validation, You should be able to use some of the keywords when you speak. And those keywords are, a high degree of assurance. I want to hear that. I want to hear, consistently produce. And then I also want to hear quality attributes. All these things are very valuable when you speak about validation. I mean, validation, what is validation? I mean, they can ask you first question in your interview, just to know what you understand by validation, So this is something you have to be able to speak up. What is validation? Why validation needed? I don't want to go through those whole thing. So just to recap from last week, what we have been gone through. Types of validation. Also, you have to remember prospective validation, concurrent, retrospective, revalidation. All these 4 types of validation, because going forward, we're going to use a lot of these words, prospective, retrospective. So you will be at lost if you are not aware of it. So you want to have these words familiar and get used to these words. And then another thing is validation documentations. So you have to be familiar what are the documents we will be working on. So remember 10 documents I talked about. So it starts from validation plan, URS, FRS, CS, validation summary report. Also, you have to remember these words IQ, OQ, PQ, and UAT. These are the words you will be using more often in this class. And when I say IQ means installation qualification, when I say OQ means operational qualification, when I say PQ means performance qualification, when I say UAT means user acceptance test. So all these things, then you have traceability matrix. So get familiar with these words first, and then we're going to dig into it, what it means going forward. But you need to understand that this is the language you will be speaking, becoming a validation engineer after 2 months. So if you're not going to talk about these things, if you're not going to use these words, that means you're not a validation engineer yet. So you have to get used to these things. Just give me 1 second. Hello. Yes, who is this? Yeah. Oh man, I can't go right now. So let me call you later. Okay. Okay, text me the address. I will go and pick it up afternoon today. Thank you. Thank you. So those are the words, and then requirements. We're gonna talk about requirements today, basic requirement categories, level of requirements, and all those good stuff. You also saw software development life cycle. This is how it works. So get familiar with these. There are phases, phase by phase. So read through these and understand as your time permits. And environment, you're going to hear a lot about dev, test, val, and prod. What is development environment? What is test environment? What is val environment? What is prod environment? All these things you're going to also have to get used to and talk about it, because this is what you're going to work. So those are the things, just quick recap. Now let's go in a real workshop today. And this is where your real class starts. We were just getting familiar with the verbiage, the words and stuff like that. Now the work starts. So this week you're gonna have homework. So what we're going to learn today is URS and FRS and how to author it, how to write it. So we're going to get into what is URS and what is FRS first, and so in a world of software, right now we're going to study about software validation engineering, CSV, computer system validation engineering. So in the world of computer system, first you need to recognize, the bricks, and each and every URS is your bricks to build the house. And based on each and every URS, there will be house build, and then the validation will happen. Validation means, we're going to do inspection. We're going to check that what is that those bricks are made of, how much cement they used, how much sand they used, what is the quality of the, walls and all those good stuff. That is what we're going to validate. But right now, we just have to build the house. And to build the house, we need a bricks. And that is the bricks is your URS. Each and every URS is your bricks. So can anybody tell me what you understand by URS and FRS? User requirement specification, functional requirement specification. These two words you have to get familiar with first. Both the words are base of any software development lifecycle, or even for validation. These two things you need to understand in its core. But is this your job? No. Writing URS, FRS is a business analyst and system manager or admin's job. So mostly if you see a lot of business analysts, what they do, they write URS, they write FRS. FRS is more like a system related, but they write FRS. This is what they do. Why we are learning as a validation engineer? There are a few reasons behind it. So the whole validation is based on your specifications, URS and FRS. So regardless if you're not going to write, you need to understand each and every requirements, why it is written certain way, and why, what we're going to do with it. So that is one thing. Second thing is, if you go in a smaller company, bigger company, they have business analysts. But if you get hired in smaller companies, they might expect from you, hey, do you know how to write URS and FRS? And if you say yes, that means you are adding some value. That means you are selling yourself with extra package. That means you're adding some dollar on your rate, because they don't have to hire two people. You're going to be combination of business analyst and validation. And in corporate world, they like it, that, hey, this person can also write URS and FRS, even though this is not your roles and responsibility as a validation engineer. Then another thing, I'm teaching you this because this is, the class is for your career. It's not a gas station register, which you're going to learn, work there a few months, and then you're going to go on your own way. This is your career. It's going to be career for you for 30 years, 40 years, whatever time you have left, because once you become a validation engineer, you don't need to do anything else. It's good enough. You can retire in this field. So in future, this will help you, because each and everything I'm going to teach you in this class have some meaning. And it's a very compact, very thought way of class. So this had some importance going forward in your career. So that is the reason I'm going to teach you. Now, this will be your homework for this week, and you guys will be doing it in a team. And the teams will work together. And you need to understand the whole phenomena of it, that how this URS and FRS needs to be done, how it's done, and how you're gonna achieve it. That's the starting point. So can anybody tell me what is URS and what is FRS? Just try. I'm not gonna, again, I want you guys to engage in the class. I can keep on giving you lecture, but that's not going to help you. Your involvement, your engagement is very, very important. You speak up your mind, even though you think you're not right, even though you think it's stupid, no problem. That's the whole point. I'm trying to engage you into this, so tell me, what do you understand as a common sense, as a layman, say layman perspective, or what do you understand by URS and FRS? You're going to hear this word more and more all the time because you're stepping into software development world. So URS and FRS is the basic document. It's a base specification. Anybody wants to try anything? Go ahead.
So I guess user requirement specification document will be basically talking about what actually the client wants. What
That's
they're looking
correct.
for.
You're smart,
and-
Rosil. Yes, speak up your mind. Very good.
and
What client
functional-
wants from the system?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And functional requirement means as its name suggests, it's basically what a system is
How it's
supposed
gonna
to do,
function.
like
Yeah.
how it's gonna function, the basic function, standard function.
Very good. See, you tried it. You're reaching there. Chaitanya, can you tell me what is URS and FRS?
Yeah, user requirement specification is that whatever means if you are creating a system like that, whatever the user needs, those are the requirements.
Very good.
And the functional requirements is how it functions.
Okay. Good, good. Very good. Very good. You said it, but you also have to learn how to, say it in an elaborated way.
Okay.
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 When you're going forward, elaborate it a little bit. I understand it. The name itself says URS, user requirement specification, functional requirement specification. User requirement, what user want from the system, that is user requirement, and how those requirements will be fulfilled by the functionality is your functional requirement. But when you answer it as you're giving interview, Chaitanya, so you have to elaborate a little bit, in a way that, you understand this, what it is.
Okay, sure.
Okay? All right, yeah, no problem. Sonika, you want to try? Tell me something. What do you understand by URS and FRS? Oh, Sonisha, can you try?
So URS mean like what actions should be performed by the user, who will perform who will perform the action like that, and functional requirement specification means how it is done.
Okay, very good. Very good, smart. Prajita, can you tell me what is URS? What do you understand by URS and FRS? You're on mute.
User requirements means like a process, like writing something for the what user will be doing. And functional means what functions will be done.
Okay, yes, I understand what you meant, but if you tell somebody as a layman language, then you have to elaborate it. I totally get it where you're coming from, because you're already a computer system, computer engineer. So I can relate to your language, but not everybody can relate to your language. So how you can explain that? That's my question. No problem. Good try. Anybody else wants
Dhruv
to
sir,
try? Yes,
actually,
go
I
ahead.
have a question.
Go ahead.
So you said the user URS is written by or for, I'm like for the user.
Okay, so any system you want to build, you have to start with URS. That is your first document, because unless you know what user want, what system you're going to build. In order to build a system, first you need to know what you want. Am I right? So that's what it is for user. It is, and that's what you're gonna have to build. So let's go and dig deeper into it. Okay, guys. Speak up your mind. Don't hesitate, guys. Get involved. Don't be cautious about what others gonna think, and get involved into the course. So let's go. And we're going to talk about this training is intended for validation engineer, validation lead, system managers, business process owners, business analysts, quality assurance reviewers who creates, reviews, or approve user and functional requirements for GXP systems. If you see this, why it is so many, all these people, because they all are stakeholders of URS and FRS. All these people in your company has to be part of this document. Okay, so validation engineers, validation leads, system managers, business process owners, business analysts write these documents in a big company. You might not have to write it. As a validation engineer, you might not have to write it even in a small company. If you become a validation lead, then only they will expect you, hey, can you write it? But as of now, you might not have to write it, but you want to learn it, because this is your basic document, base document. This is your foundation of the whole validation or whole system. So you need to understand this, how it is written, each and every requirement, why it is written this way, and what you're gonna do with it. What all you can do with these requirements. So that's why you need to understand in its best. Going forward, the objective of this workshop or class will be the different requirement categories, how the business process flow is used to develop user requirements, why, what, who, and when user and functional requirements are developed and used. Very important. The relationship between user and functional requirements, very important. What makes a good user requirement and functional requirement? Very important. These questions they can ask you even in your interview. How the type of system impacts type of requirements, also very important. So let's go and dig deeper into it. See, one thing you guys have to understand that, maybe you are new for this world, new for software development or, IT and all this, but you're not new for common sense. Am I right? You can think from this point, and it might look a little bit difficult for you guys when you're going, because you're not familiar with these verbiage. These words are kind of all foreign for you, but you have to engage yourself, engage your mind, try to understand what we are trying to do, and then you're going to get it. I know that, so The agenda will be requirement categories, requirement fundamentals, what makes a good requirement, creating user and functional requirements, requirements by system type. All those things we're going to talk about. So let's first talk about the requirement itself. What is requirement? So let me explain you in a different way so you guys can relate. And connect yourself, you know. So for example, I'm going to open a restaurant. Okay. So in the restaurant, I had a small business. I was working with paper only, you know, cutting the bills with, on the paper, you know, everything paper based. But now, you know, in America, everything needs to be digital, computerized, because, you know, customer comes and, you know, they like to see that, you know, this is very standard. So now I need to have system. I need to computerize it, everything, because this manual thing is old fashioned. You know, nobody uses that old fashioned thing. So I need to have a system. So what I'm going to do is, okay, I'm going to buy the computer, one computer in the front desk, you know, when the customer comes, and then I'm going to, you know, put some TV or, you know, display in my kitchen. But that hardware not going to help me. Am I right? Then what I'm going to do with the computer? That is the question. So I need to build a system for my restaurant. So that system, call it any name, you know, but you can call it, you know, whatever name, system name, you can call it. But that system needs to be built for me where I can do everything I need. So I'm going to call a computer engineer, you know, somebody like Prajita, that, hey, Prajita, can you come and build a system for me, a restaurant system for me? So Prajita going to say, yes, I can do it. But in order to build your system, first I need to know what you need in your system. What are the things you need to do in your system? What is your requirement? What you need? Then only I can think how to code it. Am I right? As a coder, she cannot code it unless she knows what you need. What's she gonna code? So then she's gonna ask you question. She's gonna ask me question that, hey, you need a system, but tell me, what are the things you want from your system? So at that point, I'm not even sure what all I want, but I can explain her how my business work. And based on that, we can write a requirement. So now I'm going to explain her that, hey, a customer comes and my waiter gonna take the customer to the table. And then I'm gonna give them the menu that, hey, go and choose the food. And then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna ask their name, information. The waiter gonna go ask their name, information, and then ask for the menu choice of menu. What are the food you want? And now I got this on my notepad. Now I need to enter it in my system. Now in my system, I need to have a button where it says new customer. That's a requirement. Then we're gonna say a new customer. Inside that new customer window, a small window opens. Now I need to put their name, address, email, whatever information I can gather from the customer. So in my system, I need to build that. So I can, my waiter can enter all the information as much as we can. So, we can be in touch. We can send some coupons, all those good purpose. So that is your requirement. That is the requirement. Then I need to have a menu button in my system, which I can click and whole menu will appear. And I can select or unselect the menu. Both the capability I need to have. Those are the requirements. Then what's gonna happen? I'm gonna submit. I need to have a submit button. Once I submit, the new order is placed. Then what's gonna happen? That order needs to go in the kitchen. So that order should be displayed in the kitchen. So a cook can see, okay, we have a new order. These are the food I need to make. That is another requirement. After cook finished the cooking, serve the food, I need to close the bill. Sometimes we have to add some more food, last minute food, or, dessert, or, sweet dishes, which Krista likes. She always likes gulab jamun. She wants to add a gulab jamun. Then we have to come and add one more in my bill. All those are requirements you are building. So not about gulab jamun, but can I add an item? Now somebody didn't like some food. I need to remove that. I don't want to charge my customer. Can I go in my system and remove that? And after all this, I have to submit, close the bill, and then bill will print, and I can take the bill to the customer. Customer gonna give me the credit card or cash. I need to bring that and put it in my system, paid. All these things I need to do in my system. That's what as a business owner, I explained Prazita that these are my requirements. Can you build me a system? Then she can build me a system. If I don't say what are my requirements, how's she gonna build a system? She don't know my business. She's a computer engineer. How can she know my requirements? So that's the requirement you need to create for any system. Any system you need, first you need to know what you want from that system. Is that clear? Any concern, any question, any doubt, speak up. Okay.
Yeah, those are actually, I have a question.
Go ahead.
So for the user requirements, so in order, let's say, for example, if we need to build the user requirement, then we have to go ahead and talk to the end user. In our case, it will be the pharmaceutical company, for example. So you have to go and do the research with them. Then that's how you're going to build the user requirement. That will be the step one.
Good thought, Abbas. Very good thought. So you have to reach out to the user first. That what you need from this system, how you want to use this system. That's how you're going to gather the requirements. You cannot gather the requirements by your own. Computer engineer not going to gather requirements. Computer engineer going to code or configure whatever. You need to reach out to the user or business owner. Am I right? Business owner or user who going to use that system, you need to reach out to them and then build the system, then build the requirement first. What all the things you need from your system. And that's how it's done. It's done in a team. That's why this homework you guys going to do in a team. Now, in a real world, it takes time. I have written a URS. It took us 6 months, but the company paid us, go to Marriott Suite, sit together with all the users. They were serving us morning breakfast, lunch, and dinner with wine. And for 6 months, we were writing requirements. But now it comes to the point that, in restaurant requirements, you can sit there and write, because it's not a complex system. It doesn't have many categories. You have only, even if you, think it's a very simple system. But as you move, there are complex systems, complex business processes. And that's why you need to categorize the system. You have to put it in a categories, because you have to organize your requirements, from one point to another point. So, for example, in a restaurant, you have, one category which is taking order. Another category, how you want to display it in your kitchen. The third category is how you want to close the bill. So you can divide it into 3 categories, but in some business process, it might be a little complex. So in those cases, you're gonna have to understand how these categories work. We have to categorize, the system. So that's where we're gonna go and understand, how these categories are there. So very good thought of us. Anybody else have any other thought? For
Sure, I have a
URS?
follow-up question.
Go
So
ahead.
basically, with the user requirement, it is necessary that we build the URS mainly for the new user. It's not for the existing companies, right?
No, it can be either new or old. If there is some system already in use, now the user wants to enhance. User wants to add some features which you didn't build in the beginning. So like say in restaurant, you build the system, Prajita completed coding, your system is working. Now you forgot to add, you want to give, 10% discount for Nepalese origin, for example, which you didn't add before. You didn't thought of it. So now you want to add it, enhance it. Am I right? So system is already in use. You're going to call Prajita and say, hey, can you add one more feature? I want to give 10% discount for Nepalese origin people, which we love. So then you need to add that button there. Am I right? In the system. So that is your new requirement, which will be added to your current system. So and systems are evolving continuously. So it's not like one time you build the system, you are done. So first you gather the requirements, you build the system, but it's continuously evolving, continuous changes happening into the systems. So that's why it never ends, once the system, unless the system retires. So that's why this team continues working, together for enhancements, for adding, for managing, all those good stuff, which I'll explain you how one system, how many people can be involved into managing and changing and, keeping that system alive. It takes a lot of people, for each and every system, and more complex system, more people, so that's how it works. Is that answer your question, Avas?
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Okay, no problem. So mainly categories, it can be various categories, as it depends on the system. But if you will see some of the main categories, they talk about roles and security. First, you need to write what are the roles, who can do what in that system. So for example, in a restaurant, if there is a 15% discount, you're going to say, hey, only supervisor or manager needs to approve that. No waiter can give 15% discount to everybody because, you know, as an owner, you're going to lose the money. So you need to make sure that, you know, there has to be some good reason. And that's why you're going to say, I need to add a supervisor role who can only give that discount or approve that discount. There you have to put the security and role. What are the roles and who can do what in the system? That's one category. Business process workflow, that's your workflow category. You know, how your business is going to flow from point A to point G, from the beginning till the end, how your business will flow. That's your another category. Then you have some compliance category. You know, what are the system security, what is audit trail, what is electronic records, electronic signatures, all those things you're going to come into the picture. Electronic signature, because, you know, your supervisor has to initial in order to give 15% and give some reason why you are giving 15% discount to certain customer. Am I right? So you need to record that everything in your system. So that's why you need to have that electronic records and electronic signatures involved. System interfaces. Sometimes one system connects to various systems, more than one systems. You need to have a database. You need to have, for some systems, you need to build interface that you need to gather some informations from other systems. So on all those cases, you have to have a system interface, how those systems connect with each other. What is the purpose? What is the requirement of those interfaces? All those things you have to think through. Then data lifecycle, data flow, how your data gonna flow. What is your input and what is your output? Am I right? Where it starts and where it ends. What is the outcome of data? Those requirements also you have to do. Non-functional requirements like backup and restore, disaster recovery. All those kind of requirements are also a category where you have to put. So you have to categorize the requirements. And the reason you have to categorize is also like all your security requirements at one category. So, you know, when your coder is coding the system, they can code all security requirements together. Like your one security requirement is here and one is there, it's not going to help them. So if system is category wise, it's more organized. You have to organize it better, you know, in a different category, which category it belongs to, this requirement. You also have to recognize that. And that's how you're going to build the requirements. Any concern, any question here?
Yeah, yes,
Go ahead.
Mr. Jasa. Yeah, I have two questions over here.
Yes.
One
listen.
is, can you a little bit elaborate more in business process workflow, and another is data life cycle.
Okay.
Please. Thank you.
Sure. So very good question, Resamji. Thank you. So business process workflow is how your business flows. So for example, I gave you for restaurant that, you know, how my business is flowing. So I have to explain first, my business starts from entering the new customer, you know, then adding the menus, what they ordered, and then it goes to kitchen. That display has to be in kitchen. Then from kitchen, it's going to go to customer. Then from customer, again comes back to my computer. So you see my business flow.
Cycle
workflow.
Right.
Yes. What is my workflow? From point 1 to point 2 to point 3 to point 4, point 5, point 6, point 7. In the end, you're going to close the bill. So the person who's going to build your system has to understand how your business flowing, how your business go from point A to point G. So it needs to be understood. And that's how you're going to write those requirements into business workflow, and where, you know, you can you can connect to it. For example, I also uploaded one requirement I wrote. So it's in your class. So this is like complaint module system. So, you know, a complaint comes from the customer and how that business flow. So you see, this is business flows: intake, draft, evaluation, kickback, closed. This is how the business gonna flow. Now, each and every places, there is another flow. So you see, complaint workflow is initiate, draft, then evaluation, kickback, investigation, final review, closed. These are your workflows. This is how you have to define your workflow of the requirements, that, you know, how your system gonna work, how your system gonna flow from, you know, point 1 to point 2, point G. You see, this is how I have put, and, you know, so anybody can understand, oh, this is how my complaint, if somebody complain, this is how it's gonna flow. So, you know, I will take the complaint, then I'm gonna draft the complaint, what was the complaint for, then I'm gonna do the evaluation. In evaluation, there will be a lot of analysis, that, you know, what was exactly complaint for, where does this complaint belong to, how we can fix that complaint, and then you close it, you know, if you find. So, and that's how it starts. So you see this intake assumptions, and then I have a requirements for intake assumptions. Then I have a draft phase requirements. I have requirements for those. Then I have kickback requirements. Then I have a kickback requirements. Then I have complaint requirements. Then I have, this is how this business flow works. So this is how you have to think. We're gonna get there in depth, but this is how the business workflow works. Then a data flow, data lifecycle. Data flow is, so how your data is going to be used, you know. So what did you start in restaurant? You put the data, input, first data. What did you put the data? Customer's name, customer's email, customer's phone number, if possible, customer's address. Am I right? All those are your data input. Now you're gonna use that data for future, for many various things. Am I right? You can text your customer, hey, we are giving 15% discount right now. Come over, we have good food. We have a new menu in our restaurant. You know, we have added, you know, it was only Momo, now we have Sequoia. Come over. How are you going to inform? So that data is very important for you, for business, because without that data, you cannot connect to your customer. Am I right? You cannot reach to your customer. So how your data will flow, how your data you're going to be using for your system, all those purpose. And then once you have the data in your system, say you have 500 customers data, you can send one message to all 500 at a time. So that's your data flow. Is that clear? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm clear. I have one more question. Once I was, you know, maybe I was scanning another chapter. Maybe we'll clear in later on.
No problem.
Once we will be not working in the like a tangible like kind of business or something. What will be inventory in our, you know, topic? Because I cannot see an inventory as far as I understand. So what will be our inventory? Inventory?
I understand. Elaborate it so everybody can understand. Can you elaborate? What do you mean by inventory?
Yeah, I saw somewhere we have to follow the protocols and inventory. Actually, I thought, what is inventory in our, you know, software? You know, as a software, you know, engineer, like validation engineer. So where we can see the inventory?
So inventory can be, the context can be different. Let's get there to that point, and then I'll explain you what is this context for. Inventory can be for various things. First, inventory, how many systems you have
Okay.
That is your inventory. You know, what system is used for what?
Oh, okay. Because in the business world, inventory means like, you know, we have this much stock, this, you know, like I have shoes, I have, if I'm a businessman, you know,
Also,
we can
yes,
understand in that way, right? But
also,
yeah,
that is
go
your
ahead.
another context. So in this restaurant system, inventory means what are the food you have available.
Exactly. That's the inventory. I understand that is in, but
Yes.
in our, validation engineering field. So
Yes.
what can be the inventory? That's my confusion is.
We'll get there. Hold
Yeah,
on
okay,
to
thank
that
you. Thank
thought.
you.
Yeah. Hold on to
Sure.
that
We'll
thought.
be in
Yeah.
later. Thank you though.
Yeah.
Thank you very
No
much. Mr.
problem.
Shah. Thank
No
you.
problem. Yeah. So let's understand the requirement fundamentals. Now you need to write a requirement. So understand the fundamentals first. You know, what is how you're going to write the requirements. So first, what are requirements? A user requirement defines what a business user expects to have fulfilled through the operation of a system. Any system, you're building system for anything. What a user expect from that system? What are the things a user want? What are the things user need? That is your URS. Then functional requirement defines what system functionality fulfills the user requirement. Once you have URS, now you need to think what are the functionality is needed in order to fulfill that requirements. For example, if you have URS calls, I need to add a new customer in restaurant. Am I right? So in order to add a new customer in your system, how are you going to add the customer? Now, system has to have, you know, a placeholder or a space where it says customer name. That's your FRS, functional requirement specification. Customer phone number, that is your FRS. Customer address space. All those space you have to create. So those functions will fulfill your wish to have customer information in your system. So this is how URS and FRS works. URS is a father and FRS is a child. The child will fulfill the parent. Those small functionality will meet the requirement. This is how that relationship works. So URS is your kind of parent, that what exactly I want. I want a customer information. That's your URS. Now, how are you going to fulfill that? In order to fulfill that, the system had to have a window, a small window where they can put customer's name, customer's phone number, customer's address, customer's email. Those functions are FRS in order to fulfill your URS. Is that clear to everybody? Can you connect? Can you relate? Any confusion? Any question?
So the requirement, the requirement is for the user requirement, the one which you just mentioned, or is this for both, like the user and the function?
So user requirement is kind of high level, but not too high level. You know, it has to be specific, but then in order to fulfill that requirement, you have to build some functionalities. The system has to build some functionalities in order to fulfill that requirement. So those functionalities are FRS. Am I being clear here?
I'm a little bit confused. So the
No problem.
requirement
Go
which you
ahead.
just showed to me, Can you go up? Can you scroll up?
Yeah.
Yeah, so actually, yeah, this one, the requirement categories. So these are for both URS and FRS, right? The requirements.
Yes.
So that was my question. So it's for not only for URS, it's for
No,
both
these
URS and
categories can be for both. Same
okay.
category for
Alright.
both. Yeah. Yeah. Very good.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So this is your URS and FRS. If somebody asks you what is URS and what is FRS, this is how you have to say. You have to say a user requirement defines what a business user expects to have fulfilled through the operation of a system. And what is FRS is a functional requirement defines what system functionality fulfills the user requirement. These things you have to speak up. You have to say it. You have to understand it. You need to understand these things, how these things work, you know, and then only you're going to be able to do it. So going forward, URS is not a reverse engineering. So reverse engineered means first you don't build the system and then write requirements. First you write the requirements, then build the system. You know, otherwise it is difficult, you know, for anybody. I mean, Prajita is a computer system engineer. Prajita, if I tell you just give me a system, can you give me a system without knowing what is my requirement?
No.
Exactly.
Unless we know like what needs to be there, we can't even write a single line of code.
Exactly. So that's why we need to have a requirement first. Then only you can go and do the coding, you know. So that's why it's not reverse engineered, never reverse engineered.
Yeah, Mr. Jha, I have one more quick question, you know.
Go ahead.
That say, for example, once we gather the data from business owner, then we'll final the system, right? And with that, in that session, I mean, we'll have to be, frequent meeting with the business owner, because once we gather data,
not only frequent, as I told you, it took us 6 months to write a URS.
Oh, exactly. Because once we collect the data, sometimes what I'm, oh, sorry, I forgot. I
forgot this
thing.
and I forgot this, or I missed this.
Exactly.
Not only that, URS you will be working on forever. Once the system is building, it's always coming back. You know, once you build the prototype, the developer will build the prototype. Again, there are so many requirements needs to be added, because, you know,
yeah, correct. Because once I see it's not a reverse engineer, it means once you build, you cannot go back, right? That's why just to make sure, once I collect the data.
Yeah, very good question, Resamji. Very good, very good thinking. Reverse engineer means here is not, you cannot change or you cannot add. Reverse engineered means you can, reverse engineer means here is you cannot build the system and write the requirement.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just, I have a little bit thought, for example, there's the models, I think that's why the models comes like Scrum, Waterfall, Agile, those things work here, or is the different word?
No, it can work anything. It doesn't matter what platform. But, it doesn't matter what platform you're going to use, even these days. So with that thought, huge Silicon Valley works on to creating and building the systems. And they sell it to these companies that, hey, I have a system ready for you. Go and configure whatever you need. But the question is, how did they build the system on the first place? Without the gathering the requirement, even Silicon Valley cannot build a system. So they need to hire an expert of that domain in order to build that system. Is that clear? So this is how it works. And even if they build, they might not have built exactly what this company requires. So regardless, they have built already, it is a configurable system, but still I have to write my requirement first. And then based on that, they can configure. even though they have coded everything, all the requirements were considered ahead of time. So we will go in depth how these type of systems work. What is custom system coding, what is configurable system, what is CORT system. All those good stuff we can dig into deeper into it later part of this course. But right now, first understand how to write a requirement. To build any system, you have to have a requirement. Without requirement, you cannot build a system. You don't know what to build. What is your requirement? You want to buy a car. First, you need to think in your brain, what is my requirement? I need a car which I can carry, some stuff in the back. Then you need to buy a truck. Am I right? But I need a speed car, then you can go and buy a Ferrari. What is your requirement? I need, 4-door. I need only 2 doors. I will have passengers. Then you need to buy SUV. What is your requirement? Based on your requirement, they will build the system. Well, in some cases, like Steve Jobs said, hey, my customer don't know what they want. I need to tell them what they can, have and they can enjoy with. But in order to do that also in Apple itself, they have to write first requirement. What exactly they want to build. Forget about the user. You understand? So it comes with your imagination that what all you can do with this system. What a system you want to build, for what purpose, what is your intended use, and what are the requirements. Without it, you cannot build any system. So that's where it starts from. So right now, we are focusing on how to write the requirements. What is the characteristics of requirements?
So basically, it's a very initial brainstorming, like what actually goes into like a system, or like how it's going to be. Right?
Exactly. It is first document you are studying today, not the last one. So it starts from here. This is the first thought process. Okay. Any other question, concern?
Thank you, Mr. Jha. I'm clear with that. Thank you.
Sure. No problem. Yeah, I want that engagement. I love that, because you guys have to engage yourself and ask the questions. It's very important. So where am I? Okay. So let's go and understand. So only requirements are not only a copy of vendor document. So what do you understand by vendor document? So who is vendor? So understand one thing. These pharmaceutical, biotech, medical device company you're going to work for, they are not software producers. They don't make software. They make medicines, they make devices, they make equipments. They don't make software. So they have to buy software from somebody. So they need to look for vendor. Now, what are those vendors? Those vendors are company like SAP, company like SFDC, company like, all these big guys in software industry who build the system for others. They have coders, thousands of coders, and they code the system. They gather the requirements and they build a system for them. And then they go to sell them. And they say, hey, all these things, we can do it for you. My system can do all these things for you. Because they study their, business process from outside. They try to understand, what is the things they need in manufacturing system? What is the things they need in operations? What kind of operations? What is the things they need in lab? What are the things they need to do? So they they gather those and then they build the system and they sell it to the company. Now, company says that you gave me generic system, but it doesn't exactly work in my company. I need some variations. I have a different process. My process is a little different than what your system can offer. So at that time, they will custom your system, or they will configure your system the way you want, or these pharmaceutical companies want. And that's why the vendor word comes, that vendor sells those software to these companies. And first, these company has to understand what they want, what is their requirement. And based on that, vendor comes, hey, I can fulfill all these requirements with my current system, but for these 5 requirements, I have to custom code. Is that clear to everybody? Can you understand what I am talking? Can you relate? Okay.
Isn't it like just for an example, let's say you buy a simple laptop, but you need some software that needs to be added in the computer for your course, like a MATLAB or any other.
Yes,
system.
yes. Same thing. Any software, exactly. And guys, if you're not, if you're not connecting, feel free. I will explain you in Nepali or Hindi or whatever language you can understand. But understand it. These are the things you have to understand. You're putting your feet inside the industry. And again, no question is bad question, stupid question, because, I started some point, I had so many questions too. So that's why you hired me. I'm your teacher here, and I'm going to explain you everything to make you understand. So don't hesitate to ask the question again and again.
I want to ask one question.
Go ahead.
So I'm still on the reverse engineer. I don't understand it clearly. Like, is that mean?
So let me tell you this. So
Yeah.
if you go to China, they do reverse engineering of everything. What they do is, they get the product or system, and they start breaking them, one by one, piece by piece, and then they build it. And
So,
that's why Trump said, hey, pay me the copyright for each and everything you use. So the Chinese president said, no, I'm not using your stuff. I'm building my own stuff, but it's reversed engineered. And, in law, international law, that was not part of defined law that, if somebody wants to reverse engineer, can you get hold of them, by law? I'm just joking with you, Sunisa. So reverse engineer means, again, you cannot build the system without knowing what you are building it for. Am I right? You need to know what are the things you're going to use it for first. Why you need certain system. There are thousands and thousands of systems. If you see only for accounting, you will be seeing hundreds of systems. Somebody say, oh, I have a TurboTax software. Come here. This is the best. Then somebody say, no, I have a JumboJet tax software. Come here. This is going to give you more discount. Everybody build their system and try to give you and, make you use. But then first you need to know what you want, what exactly you need from the system.
So if you build a system without knowing exactly what we want, what function we need, then
then you cannot build that system.
Okay, and it is reverse engineer, right?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Yes.
Sir, I wanted to add something to it. So since I've been to the previous classes too, so here is I see reverse engineer, and does it add the thing that it cannot be like you cannot go once you wrote the system requirement, you cannot go back and change it by yourself. Does that mean that too? Does
So there
that
is a
come in,
yeah,
is it
yeah.
relevant with
So
this one?
very good question, Manojji. So up to certain point, you keep on changing. But
Okay.
then at one point you have to freeze it,
Mhm.
publish the system, and then again you can change it.
Yeah.
So
I
we
know,
will study about the change control, change management, how change happens in the system. But up to certain point, you can easily change it because system is in a build phase. So you can keep on changing. If it's in a first build phase, you can keep on adding requirements. And that's why requirements are always added. I have seen till last moment business is coming, hey, can you add one more thing? Can you add one more thing? As a validation engineer, we have to say, no, stop it now, man. Go it for next build. This build, because we have to validate the system.
No, I understood, like,
yeah.
If we concluded the documentation and everything, after that we cannot touch
After
it, right?
that, you cannot just go and change it. Not in a
We cannot
regulated
change it,
industry.
yeah.
Yeah.
We have to
You
go
have
with
to
the
go
system.
through change control, change
Change control
management.
system, yeah.
That's
Thank
correct.
you. I just wanted to make sure if
No, very good.
yeah.
Very good. You understood right, Manoj sir. Okay, so that was vendor. So requirements are not copy of vendor documentation. Also region, because vendor can give you 5,000 functionality. As a regulated industry, you're going to use only 2,000 functionality. You cannot have extra functionality enabled there. So in regulated industry, you have to control. Everything is controlled. That's why you cannot use vendor documentation. Requirements are not unrealistic. It has to be very realistic. Like, if you come and say, hey, we need to design a nuclear power plant, then in phase 1, we will gather customer requirements, of course, and then, you want free electricity without mutating unless the mutation gives you X-ray vision. All these unrealistic requirements are not acceptable when you build a system. You have to be realistic. You have to be practical. What you can achieve out of this system. I want to have, cover on the sky. I can't do that. The system cannot do it. So those kind of requirements you cannot talk about. Mostly you're going to talk why. Think. Know what system is intended to do and design system to the requirements, test to requirements. Is it designed right and does it work right? That is the main question you have to ask. When? At the start of a project or update release? Who? Individual or team? All these things we're gonna get into, one by one, but understand that. You need a team to build this. Of course, you cannot build alone. These things are not done alone. One person cannot do it. So you have to build it in the same team. Now, understand roles and responsibilities. Who does what? That is very important. So there is a person called business process owner. Every system will have business process owner and system owner. Every system you're going to see owned by these companies have business process owner, have system manager, have admin, sometimes more than one admin, then developers, then testers, then validation engineers, then QA, quality assurance, all these people together going to build and maintain the system. So business process owner also have business user of the system. So business process owner is responsible for business part, that what exactly, how they're going to use the system. So business process owner defines the user requirement. It's their responsibility. They will tell you what exactly they want from the system when you're gathering the requirement. We, as a validation engineer or business analyst, You're going to gather the requirement. You're not going to create the requirement. You can suggest, you can help to brainstorm, but you cannot build the requirement. You're going to gather the requirement. Gather from whom? From business process owner. Then system manager authors supporting technical documentation, including but not limited to functional requirements and design specification. So system manager does FRS and DS, design specification. So understand these. First, any system have to have a specifications. So there are 4 types of specifications. URS, user requirement specifications, functional requirement specifications, design specifications, and configuration specifications. These 4 specifications are the base, the foundation of the system. So first you need to understand how these documents are written. Then only you're going to test them. As a validation engineer, you're going to test them. But first you need to know how it's written. So you can test them better. You can understand them better. And you can perform writing the test and executing the test better. So we're talking about the specification. And in the specification, FRS and DS is done by system manager, not you, not us, not business analyst. But we're going to help them because we're going to be author or gather. We're going to gather all those information from them because they don't know how to write. We know how to write because we have to put it in a categorization. We have to put it in a template, all those things we need to do. And so that's what we are learning here. Then validation team ensures that applicable data integrity, like, all the compliance requirements. So now there is a code of federal regulations. That's when we come into the picture. What are the code of federal regulations for each system? What is this system is going to be used? And then we have to follow certain code of federal regulations, which is Samvidhan, which is, law. It's a land law, and land law has to be applied into each system you're going to use it for. So those things we have to make sure that as a validation engineer, we need to know the law and we need to tell them, hey, these are the law you need to apply. Like, for example, you're going to say, hey, law says you have to keep backup and restore and disaster recovery. It doesn't matter how much extra it's going to cost. You say, hey, it's a law. You have to put it there. What if the system crashes? All those things comes into the picture. So that's how we have to make sure that, all those code of federal regulations, which is law, needs to be applied to the system, like disaster recovery, business continuity requirement are included in user requirements, functional requirements, and design specs. All those things, it's our job. So now you understand here who develops the requirements. There is no I in URS and FRS. There is a team. URS team, business process owner, business analyst, validation, and QA. FRS team, system manager, business analyst, validation, and QA. So there is a teamwork. There is no one person work here. And that's why you guys going to be writing this as a team. Now, somebody gonna play a role of business process owner, somebody gonna play a role of business analyst, somebody gonna play a role of validation, somebody gonna play a role of quality assurance. And that's how you're gonna make a team and you're gonna understand each other's perspective and you're gonna do this. This will be your homework, but how? We're gonna talk more about it. What makes a good requirement?
Yeah, just a second, Mr. Jha. Before that, I have one quick question. Can you elaborate more about system manager's role in simple language? There is a little bit technical document is something kind of confusing.
Yes, yes. So any system understand the structure. Business process owner is a business user, business side. They're just user. They just need functionalities to use. System manager is the one who are responsible for building the system and maintaining the system. So system manager hire developers, testers, and admins. Admins, administrator of the systems, developers of the systems, and tester of the systems are under system manager. They are the technical guys, who owns the system from technical perspective. And that's why they are system manager, and these two documents, especially design specification and functional requirement specification, considered as a technical document. User requirement is considered business document. And IQOQPQ, when we will go further, is validation document. So everybody have their role in the system. Is that clear?
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm clear now. Thank
No
you.
problem. No problem. So what makes a good requirement? Now you're going to go and write a requirement. I'm going to give you a system to write. But what makes a good requirement? Requirement has to be necessary for the intended use of the system, not just boilerplate. What is boilerplate, Krista? It's a slang. It's a white people slang.
What did you say? Boiler? I can't see it on there.
Yeah, boilerplate.
A hot plate. I don't know. I've never heard of that slang before. Actually, boilerplate.
It's a technical, of course, it's a technical jargon, but boilerplate means, you don't want to make everything at one place, in one go, basically. So you need to have a necessary requirements. Requirements has to be specific, clear, unambiguous, with one and only one interpretation. So when you're going to write the requirement, you're going to write it in a simple word. And only one interpretation, if you remember, when we are kid, we speak simple language, we mean it and we say it. But as we grow, we get clever and cunning. And then sometimes we use words which have double meaning. Am I right? We don't need to use those words, double meaning words, when you write requirements, because it will create a difficult situation for the developer to build your system, because it has to be only one meaning of the requirements. That's why the requirements has to be written in a very simple word. You don't need to be, bring Shakespeare English here. Simple English, simple word. Write the requirement. What do you want from your system? What are the things you want from your system in a simple word? And unambiguous means not very high level, double meaning thing. I don't know what it means. It may means this or it may means that. You don't need to use those words. It has to be clear, unambiguous. It has to be testable. Remember, every requirements you're going to write, it has to be, you're going to have to test them. So you have to ask yourself a question, can you test them? Is it a testable requirement? Then it has to be traceable. You have to trace them. All those things has to be understood. So good requirements are not ambiguous. Using a verb such as should or quantifiers such as most or some. If you write most, how are you going to test it? What do you mean by most? If you're going to write some, what do you mean by some? What can I understand by some? Krista does it sometimes. She used these words and she confuses, and then she confuses me.
What if can you write few? Because I mean, right now it's
Few means how you gonna test few? Few means how many? Few means how many?
Okay.
How you gonna pass the test? Few. Few means 1, 3, 5, 9, 100.
Few means 2.
So write it 2.
Couple means 2. Few means
Don't,
Few means
Krista,
2 too.
don't confuse guys. Don't confuse guys. That's
I
what
get
it means.
No few.
No few, no some, no most, no should. Those are the words, it confuses. It has to be specific. It has to be exact. That's how. Don't write compound, multiple requirements combined into one requirement. It's not going to help you. So those things, because, it will be also hard to test them. So those things you have to understand. Creating a user requirement for the business process. So there is a way to create a requirements for business process. First, understand how your business is going to work. Like I gave you example of restaurant, it's going to start from here, go to kitchen, go to customer, come back. So you have to create a business flow, a path to get to the URS. So that's how you're going to build those things. Durgaji, you want to take a break? Okay, let's take a break.
everybody is good with break.
All right, let's take 10 minutes break.
Thank you, sir.
No problem.
Dhruv sir.
Hazir.
मैले अस्ति न त्यो क्लासको जुन यो कन्टेन्ट छ नि
हजुर
कन्टेन्टमा अल्सो पासेन मैले इमेलमा
हो त्यो लास्ट टाइम के भयो भने त्यो भिडियो लोडै भएन किनभने मेरो त्यो क्लाउड एकदम फुल भइसकेको थियो अब यो हप्ता मैले सबै क्लिन गरेँ अब आइरहेछ अब
होइन सरी मैले यो भिडियो भनेको हैन मैले जुन कन्टेन्ट छ नि तपाईको यो
कन्टेन्ट त छ हुनु पर्ने हो
छैन म क्लासरुममै छैन
तपाई क्लासमै हुनुहुन्न
म क्लासमै छैन मैले हिजो हेरेको क्लास के देखाउँछ त्यहाँ भित्र गयो भने हाउ टु युज द माइक्रोसफ्ट विन्डो के अरे वर्ड मात्रै छ क्या म त्यहाँ त्यो मेरो क्लासको के कन्टेन्टहरु नि देखेन
ए माथि हुन्छ म देखाउँछु तपाईलाई यहाँ जानुस् है
एकछिन भन्नु है
होमवर्क्समा आई थिंक
क्लास इन्भिटेसन हैन क्लास E 2021
म तपाईलाई देखाउँछु है एकैछिन
क्लास डी होला
क्लास डी हो यो
क्लास डी
क्लास डी नै छैन म क्लास E मा राख्नु भयो के सरले मलाई म त्यो भने
ए तपाई क्लास डी मा हुनु पर्ने हस् म चेन्ज गर्दिन्छु यसो गर्नुस् न मलाई टेक्स्ट गर्दिनु होला है तपाई अलिकति
क्लास सी दिएपछि
हजुर
हस्
क्लास सी दिएपछि मलाई इमेल गर्दिनुस् टेक्स्ट गर्दिनुस् म चेन्ज गर्दिन्छु
हस् हस् थ्यांक यू
सरी है
ए हैन के छैन
I forgot या
अहिले सर अघि हजुरले देखाउनु भएको थियो नि हजुरले एउटा लेखेको URS स्याम्पल त्यो चाहिँ क्लासमा छैन होला सायद छैन
ए म अपलोड गर्दिन्छु
थ्यांक यू
नो प्रब्लम
Dhruv sir,
yes
I need a class code because I am not able to see this class in Google Classroom.
okay no problem I'll send you that yeah
Okay, thank you.
no problem
Dhruv sir, हजुरले के रे त्यो ट्रेड भ्यालिडेसन कर्वको त्यो फाइल पोस्ट गरिदिन्छु भनेर भन्नुभएको थियो गुगल डकुमेन्टमा पोस्ट गरिदिनु भएको छैन हो
गरेको छैन यो विक सबै गर्छु
ए हस्
नेक्स्ट विकको पनि गर्छु यसको पनि गर्छु
हस् थ्यांक यू
नो प्रब्लम तपाई कहाँ गायब हुनुभयो समीक्षा
Jha sir,
हजुर
I have a question that in Nepali
हजुर भन्नुस् न
very hard to express my question in English. मैले यो चाहिँ अब कन्सेप्ट त बुझिरहेको छु हैन अब मलाई त के कन्फ्युज हुन थाल्यो भने अब यत्रो चार्टहरु देखेर चाहिँ सबै कन्ट्रोल गर्नुपर्ने चीजहरु हो कि
होइन हजुर पहिलादेखि हेरेरै नडराउनुस् तपाईँ म पुगाउँछु तपाईँलाई ठाउँमा पुगाउँछु नि तपाईँ चिन्ता नगर्नुस् फलो गर्दै गर्नुस् सबै तपाईँले क्यारी गर्नु पर्दैन
Okay, I enjoy the class.
हजुर हजुर
But today I looks like little bit sleepy. I don't know why.
हुन्छ कहिलेकाहीँ हुन्छ कफी खानु पिउनुस् न
त्यो त म चस्मा नमिलेर हो कि लाइट नमिलेर हो कि भनेर यहाँ चेन्ज गरे छु के किन त्यस्तो भयो भने
दाइले चिया पुगेन जस्तो छ गर्नुमा
अर्जुन खड्का सर नमस्ते है नमस्ते
नमस्कार रेशमजी
अनि
हजुरहरु एकअर्कालाई चिन्नुहुन्छ पहिलादेखि
हाम्रो चाहिने हाम्रो चिनजान अब बन्न गरे मैले मलाई साह्रै खुब कुल मान्छे बडा राम्रो उहाँसँग के कुरा आई एम इन्स्पायर्ड विथ हिम टु बडा राम्रो एकदम कुल मान्छे हुनुहुन्छ
होइन रेशमजीको दाइलाई चाहिँ मैले राम्रोसँग चिनेको कि
ए हो र
धेरै चिनेको धेरै गफ पनि गरेको कहिलेकाहीँ जिस्केको पनि जिस्क्याउने अनि उहाँ पनि ठ्याक्कै त्यस्तै नेचर रहेछ कि ठ्याक्कै दाइको कपी नै
उहाँ चाहिँ तपाईँको झा सर उहाँ चाहिँ बेगर्स फिल्डमा बस्नुहुन्छ जहाँ कि नेपाल नै छैन त्यहाँ एक्लै बसेर चट्ट सेटल गरेर उहाँले कहानी सुनाउनु भयो
केही त हामी बेकर्सफिल्ड रेशमजी बेकर्सफिल्ड हामी गइरहेको छौँ कहिले काहीँ त्यो चेरी पिकिङ यताउता गर्नलाई इट्स अ भेरी गुड
ओके त्यो बेकर्सफिल्डमा जाने त चेरी पिकिङ गर्न जाने बेकर्सफिल्डमा हो
त्यही हो नि उतै हो नि सबै फार्मिङहरू त्यो सबै कुरो धेरै छ राम्रो छ त्यहाँ
यहाँबाट कति माथि साँच्ची
यहाँबाट अब कुन बाटो तपाईँ जानुहुन्छ हामी त यताबाट छिर्छौँ भित्र गइहाल्छौँ मजाले
बेकर्सफिल्ड भन्दा निकै टाढा एलेको नजिकवाला भन्ने ठाने थिएँ मैले यहाँबाट
होइन बिचैमा छ एले र यसको बिचमा छ
भनेपछि
अब एले तपाईँको 350 माइल हो भने राख्नुस् न 170-75 माइल होला यहाँबाट
त्यस्तै होला 150 होला सर 150
150-60 त्यति हो
ठिक हो
भनेको त टाढा रहेछ म त 300 माइल नै होला भन्ने ठाने थिएँ यहाँबाट
हजुर हेलो
अनि अर्जुन सर ठिक छ हालखबर तपाईको
ठिक छ रेशमजी यो चाहिँ ठ्याक्क 99 हाइवे चाहिँ
सेम लोकेसन फर
यो सिटीको बिचबाट पास हुन्छ
हाउ लङ इट कैन टेक यु
है यहाँ जुन एलए जान्छ यही पनि हो त्यही सान फ्रान्सिस्को जाँदा सेक्रामेन्टो जाँदा यही युज गरे पनि भयो तर यो ठ्याक्क बिचबाट हुन्छ यो बाटो
आउनुस् यतातिर घुम्न
10 मिनेट्स
आउनै पर्ने छ
दाजुभाइ बसौँला गफ गरौँला खुब रमाइलो लाग्यो तपाईँसँग गफ गर्दा पुरानो यादहरू दिलाउनु भयो आउनु रमाइलो घुम्नु पर्ने ठाउँ के बी एरिया भने
रिम्पी
त्यही त मलाई धेरै इन्ट्रेस्ट छ कि म त पुगेकै छैन गएकै छैन
त्यही त भने अब सरप्राइज म चाहिँ तपाईँ आउनु भयो होला भन्ने ठाने 4-5 वर्ष भइसकेको मान्छे यहीँ क्यालिफोर्नियामा
5 वर्ष ठ्याक्कै 5 वर्ष भयो अब अहिलेसम्म बी एरिया गएको छैन
आउनुपर्छ तपाईँ बी एरिया आउनु भयो भने त यु मिस अ लट तपाईँसँग आउनुपर्छ घुम्नै पर्ने मान्छे कति टाढामा छ हेर्नलाई आउनु होला अब चिनजान भयो होइन आउनुहोस् होइन रमाइलो ठाउँ छ बहुत राम्रो ठाउँ छ
त जस्तो भनौँ न अब यो मैले त्यो ब्रिज छ नि त्यहाँ सान फ्रान्सिस्को त्यहाँ त गएको छैन अब कस्तो मान्छे होला
त्यही त नि गोल्डन गेट ब्रिज हेर्न मात्रै मान्छे इन्टरनेसनल फ्लाइट लिएर आउँछ नि यहाँ तपाईँको
अनि म त अब जस्तो भनौँ छोरी र कहिले छोरीको नमिली कहिले छोरीको आमाको नमिली कहिले आफ्नै नमिली भएर
त्यही हो अमेरिका मेन च्यालेन्जिङ भनेकै त्यही हो सबै छुट्टी एकैचोटि मिलाउनु नै त्यसको लागि त समर भ्याकेसन कुर्छ नि बच्चाको स्कुल न चाहे छुट्टी हो सबैको मिलोस् भनेर ठिक छ सर आउनु होला
ठिक छ
ल म चाहिँ यसलाई म्युटमा
Okay, guys, I'm back. So, a couple of things. Whosoever is at work, I understand. But whosoever is not at work, you can open your video and interact in the class, because I will never know who you are. And that will be not a good situation. You have to connect. Again, as I told you guys that, I'll be teacher for you for 2 months. And if you're not going to connect to us, to the class, how you're going to work through? Because this will be kind of, also teamwork and all those things. So I highly encourage to open your video. Don't do multitasking, and stay in the class.
Sir.
Hazur.
एउटा क्वेसन छ है
हजुर भन्नुस्
मेबी अब यो क्लास सुरु भएपछि कुर्नु पर्ने हो कि हैन तर जुन यो तपाईले अब भेन्डर भन्नुभयो नि हैन भेन्डर दे आर लाइक हु एक्चुअली सेल द सफ्टवेयर टु द कम्पनी जोसँग तपाईको कोडरहरु हुन्छ हैन
That's correct. हजुर हजुर हजुर
अनि बिजनेस प्रोसेस ओनर
हजुर
let's say who actually writes the requirement हैन
हजुर
so
defines the requirement.
Who actually defines the requirement? Okay.
Hazur.
So, हामी as a validation engineer, हामी like कसरी सबै together आउँछ भन्ने खालको requirements हरु लेख्नु पर्छ सुरुमा त okay, that's fine. There are a process हुन्छ like कसरी how we all come together, okay?
Getting there. Getting there one by one, step by step. Let's take a baby step first. Let's take a baby step first. All the dots will be connected. Hey, I can understand your dots, but it's gonna get there. We're gonna get there. But good question, good thinking. That means you're thinking, girl.
Durva sir.
Hazur.
एउटा क्वेसन छ
भन्नुस्
हजुरले जुन चाहिँ त्यो बिजनेस प्रोसेस ओनर भनेर भन्नुभयो नि
हजुर
त्यो चाहिँ अब अघि हजुर रेस्टुरेन्टहरुको एक्जाम्पल दिनुभयो त्यसकोमा चाहिँ बिजनेस प्रोसेस ओनर भनेको चाहिँ त्यो बिजनेसको ओनर हो कि
बिजनेसको ओनर हो हजुर
ओके
त्यस्तै सिस्टमको पनि बिजनेस ओनर हुन्छ सबै सिस्टम र सिस्टम म्यानेजर हुन्छ जुन पनि कम्पनीमा तपाईं जानुहुन्छ स्पेशली रेगुलेटेड इन्डस्ट्रीमा अरु इन्डस्ट्रीको त मलाई थाहा छैन किनभने म कामै गरेको छैन मेरो पुरा कामै म रेगुलेटेड इन्डस्ट्रीमा गरेको त सबै सिस्टमको ओनर हुन्छ It has to have a business process owner and system manager for each system. पहिला त्यही रिकग्नाइज हुन्छ हैन so they owns the business side and the system manager owns the technical side of the system and we are the validation engineer. So everything will get together, in after a while. I will connect these dots as Roselle asked that how what is everybody's roles and responsibilities, and we're gonna get there slowly. We just started, so baby steps. First, focus on requirement. Bring your thoughts into requirements, how to write the requirements. That's what we are talking right now. Okay, very good. Anybody else before I start?
झा सर मलाई यो चाहिँ कस्तो हो नि क्युरियोसिटी कस्तो भयो भनेदेखि अब के सम्बन्धी जस्तो भ्यालिडेसन इन्जिनियर त भन्यो इन्जिनियर अब जस्तो भनौँ न अब यो चाहिँ मेडिकल इक्विपमेन्टको हो कि अब इन्जिनियरिङ भने अब रोड बनाउने इक्विपमेन्टको हो कि अब जस्तो अब फ्रिज बनाउने अब त्यस्तो के हो कि इन्जिनियर भने त अब हामीले दिमागले अलि अर्कै सोच्छ अब जस्तो के हो भन्ने नै दिमागमा आइ नै रहेको छैन के सर
भ्यालिडेसन इन्जिनियर तपाई अब यो पुरा कोर्स पढ्नुस् अनि आइहाल्छ
थ्यांक यू हैन ठिकै छ जस्तो अब त्यो एज ए लेम्यान चाहिँ जस्तो इन्जिनियर भने चाहिँ अब जस्तो अब रोडको इन्जिनियर अब सडक विभागको इन्जिनियर computer software engineer.
For now, one thing I tell you that validation engineer gets paid more than any electrical engineer, electronic engineer, mechanical engineer. only sometimes some computer engineers can get paid more, especially if they are in database. Otherwise, a validation engineer get paid more. Understand that first. And then in the end, you're gonna, in the end of this class, you're gonna understand your roles and responsibilities.
Thank you. I know that if someone paid more to me, I will be appreciated to you and honor.
Exactly. Why not? Hajir.
Kagas patrako engineer bhanna milcha ni यसलाई, like documentation kagas patrahharuko engineer.
Hajir ho. It's kind of, the validation engineer job is, there are three things in it, understand. First, you have to know the law. So you are a mini lawyer. Second, you have to know how to document. Documentation is a major part. And then third thing is systems. You need to understand the systems and technical writing. So it's a combination of work. A validation engineer is a combination of work. So that's why you have power, but you have responsibilities. Oh my God, this guy is killing me. Hello, Naeem. So they are on the way.
Yeah, on the Chevron gas station. Okay.
You're on the gas station or on the park?
No, the Chevron gas station.
Chevron gas station? Oh man. Okay. Can you just drop it here? I'm very close, like 3 miles, 2 miles. Okay. All right.
Question, sir.
Go ahead.
EIT exams for validation engineers?
What is it?
Do they have EIT exams for validation engineers?
They do have certain exams for certification if you want to. We'll talk about those as well in the end. So let's focus on requirement first. So this is requirement writing. So you can write, your process, how your business process is going to work, and then you can write the requirements like this. So okay, it goes from here to here to here. This is how it's going to work. Also, you can write narratives. How my business is going to flow from point A to point G. You can write a narrative and then you can write your requirements as well. These are some tools. In the real world, also business analysts, they uses various tools to write the requirements, like use cases, they make use cases, all those things. So you're not going to become a business analyst. So I'm not going to go and give you guys all those aspects, because we are not studying here for becoming a business analyst. We are studying here to become a validation engineer. And that's why, you need to, the scope of writing URS and FRS is limited here. And so we're not going to go into too much depth here, but you're going to learn how to write the requirements. So business process map and narrative functions. Business process map, deposit who does what action, when is the action done, triggers to start. Narratives could also include these like what, why, and requirements is never how the role actor perform the function using the system, how the system functions, how the system controls the transactions. So remember, in your requirements, you only write who does what, when, why, all those things, not how. How is not part of your requirements. Okay. User requirement describe the following: who, which role performs an action, what action is being performed, when the action is done. All these things are part of URS. This is how you have to think. You have to ask the question when you gather the requirements. Use narratives. You can write kind of a story and what I exactly want from the system, and then based on that you can start writing your requirements. Some of the requirement, only one of the second level approvers must complete the task. This kind of requirement, here you see must and is able to, you can use it because, this is kind of a requirement which you have to make sure that, for example, in a restaurant, only a supervisor or manager is able to give 15% of discount. That's your requirement. So there you can use is able to, those kind of examples. So this is how the requirements will be written. You're going to have, each requirements will have unique number. Every requirement is, every system is independent entity. First, every system have a manager, owner, and system have requirements. Each requirement is unique requirements, unique entity. And that's how everything is connected together. And that's how you're going to trace those requirements in later also. So for example, this is how it's going to written. EDM lab manager logs reserve samples, what there is a lab system, what they can do. EDM lab manager stores reserve samples. This is the functions, what you need to do, what you need to get out of your system. This is how you write. And it's a very simple English. There is no, you don't need to have become an English professor in order to be validation engineer. You write just what you need from your system. That's it, in a simple word. And that's how you're going to get there. EDM lab manager is able to view lot information. EDM lab manager is able to view verified storage. All these things, this is how the system requirements are written. And URS writing style, write each URS statement so that it stands on its own. No multiple thing, no string attached. Even when it is removed from its context, it has to be very, very specific. Use simple verbs in present tense in constructing statements. Very simple words. That's why you don't need to know more English. English is not, you don't have to be really English professor. Basic English. That's it. Simple words when you write. Avoid using future tense. Soft verbs like will be. Avoid using one-sided conditional phrase such as if X, then Y. Those kind of requirements don't write. First write for the X, then write for the Y. Break it into small pieces. Chinese meal, piece by piece. Chinese meal are broken into piece by piece, not the combo. So don't give a combo. Okay. I used to go to Chinese restaurants. I say combo number 1, combo number 2. Say, what is combo number 1? Then they tell me, okay, this is piece by piece, meal by meal. You're gonna get combo number 1, one this, one of this, one of this. Oh. Small meal, pieces by pieces. That's how you have to write your requirement, piece by piece, not a combo. Okay. If X, then Y, don't write those. If not X, then G, don't write those. Those kind of statements and requirements are not good for build and for test. So that's why you have to keep it very straightforward. User requirements are not how. Don't write how. How the user perform the function using the system. The user clicks. You don't need to write these requirements. It is part of the system. So don't need to write, okay, user have to click on this, or user have to trigger a prompt, or user saves the data on SQL database. Don't write how. How is given. So you're just gonna write only what, why, when. Creating functional requirements. So first you need to understand again the relationship between URS and FRS. The relationship between URS and FRS should be more like a parent and child relationship, where the user requirements has one or more child functional requirements. So one requirements can have various functional requirements. And that's how you're going to write your FRS. It is not like identical twins. It's not same, it's not twins requirement. Where the functional requirement is simply duplication of URS. Don't make duplication. No orphans. Now you have to understand that every functional requirement has corresponding user requirement. Every FRS has to have a parent, but every parent doesn't need to have FRS. Understand that. So each and every requirement is a standalone. Every URS may not have FRS, like your hardware requirements. It may not have FRS, but then software requirements, it may have FRS. So that's what you're gonna do. And every FRS must have URS. Make sure. No surprises. Functional requirements should not add business details. They should be in the user requirements. Example, specific attributes. So this is how it is, URS. For some example, when a column fails the system suitability test, it is automatically moved into quarantine status. That's one of the requirement of the system. An authorized user can view learning history of subordinates. That's a user requirement. System allows an authorized user to view learning history of subordinates. This is kind of, twins, so don't write this kind of requirement because both means the same. So this is how the URS and FRS relationship will have. So each URS, a user can view their learning history. Then there are 3 ways you can see the learning history. So these are your functional requirements of URS. So the system display a list of training items completed by the user on the history screen. That's one FRS. The system displays detailed full page information of the training item completion on the history screen. That's another way to see learning history. The system allows a user to view their pending or overdue training items. That's another way to see the history. So one URS have 3 child FRS. All 3 child FRS fulfill one URS to see the history, but there are different history, 3 different history they can see. This is how URS and FRS is connected. Any question, concern here?
I have question.
Go ahead.
It has to be 3 or like it can be
no
any
many
number?
maybe 1,
Okay.
maybe 2, maybe 5, maybe 10.
Okay.
One URS
you.
can have 10 FRS,
Okay.
15 FRS. Yes, Manoji.
Yes, sir. So I'm a little bit confused about
Go ahead.
the how thing that we can or cannot. So it can't be done in URS, right?
It can't be done. You cannot write how. You don't need to write how.
But we have to do that in FRS though, right?
In a other way. So
Yes.
what functionality will fulfill that URS? But still it's not how. You don't write your requirements like click on this, click on submit. Those are not your requirement. Those are inbuilt in the system. When you see the prototype of the system, that will tell you how you're going to achieve that FRS. That's why you don't write those. If you start writing, it will become 200 pages of requirement. So you don't need to write those. That's like more like a manual, user manual.
Yeah, just in this example, URS1, it says user can view their learning history, right?
Yes.
So, and the FRS says the system displays a list of training items, right? So don't we have to elaborate the list of the training items? And that will go with how, right?
So no, you can elaborate how your list will appear, but not how. Not how the system gonna flow. means, you know, you have to click on this, then click on that, then click on that. Those are how. So you don't write those, you know, you're not going to write click on history tab, then in history tab, click on the number or name of the item. Not those things. Those are not part of your requirements, but you can list, you can write the list. What are the things will be in the list? That can be FRS. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. But still, we have to mention the whole process, right?
That's correct, but not how.
But
only what and why and who.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
What happens if, say the what is it called, the restaurant business process?
Yes. So restaurant business process, you don't say that, you know, click on OK. Sometimes you see a prompt comes.
Oh. So
okay.
you can say there's an OK button, but you can't say click. You have to click OK buttons.
Click OK button. Exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
I got it.
Exactly. Yes. So this is how your URS and FRS will be written, and this is how you're going to write. So URS FRS relationship, you write these URS here, and then you write your FRS here. Each URS number is correspond to FRS number. So if URS is 1, URS 1, FRS will be 1-1, 1-2, if there is 2 FRS. If URS 2, then 2-1, 2-2. So in that way, you see the relationship here that, this 2-1 belongs to 2. Am I right? So you can say who is its parents. So parents is URS 2 because you are 2-1. So this parents and child relationship number has to be there. In numbering has to be there, and it has to connect together. Sometimes your URS says something and FRS says something. It doesn't work that way. It has to be together. What is exactly the URS? And that's the child. That's what you have to connect together. Is that clear? Okay. Creating functional requirements, you need to understand these things. What does the system need to do? What does the system need to control? What automated task does the system need to perform? What operational checks does the system need to enforce? What authorization check does the system need to enforce? All these questions you're going to ask in order to write your FRS. So, I have a URS, a user viewed self-learning history. Now I need to ask these questions to write FRS. That what does the system need to do? So the system display all list of training items completed by the user on the history screen. That's what fulfills these questions. Understood? So that's how you're going to write your URS and FRS. So action, the system, what action does? Saves, prints, prevents, performs. These are the things the system saves inputs to the database. The system prints the daily report at midnight every day. These are the things you have to write. What are the requirements? What is the functionals? Functions gonna perform these systems URS, and all these things will be part of your FRS. Functional requirements also actions, opens, provides. All these things are also part of your FRS. Adding new requirements for existing system. If there is already system on the place, now you have to go and revise that requirement. You need to add some requirement. And in those situation, understand how the requirements were written initially, identify where the new requirements belongs in the process, try to match the style of the existing requirements to be cohesive. All these things you have to think in order to add the requirements. For example, if you are adding security requirements, so that means you need to go in a security category and add it there. You cannot add it anywhere else. You cannot add it in a business flow. Am I right? So it has to make sense where you're going to add that requirements, when you're adding. For example, change control to have lot login report generated automatically. So, you have to make sure that you add it here for this requirement itself. So this is your new requirement added here in your FRS 6 section. This is new requirement in that category itself, and that you have to make sure. Draft for new FRS requirements, you're trying to add number 2. This is how, so your 4-1-1, and then you add here 4-1-1, 4-1-2, something like that. So, you can go through this requirement workshop document, and you're going to see these, how it's added, and you can read through it. So if you see this, 02, 03, 04, the colored one, this is what it's added here. And you can see it also in traceability matrix, which you're going to study later. I will teach you how to write traceability matrix, and that's when I'll explain you these in detail, how it's added in your traceability matrix. Now, there are type of systems. There are mainly 3 types of systems for now. Understand, COTS. COTS is commercial out of the shelf versus configured. Configured system is the code is done, you just configured the system, versus custom. Custom means system is built, but you need to add some more functionality, some more codes, and those situations, the system become custom. For COTS system, only URS is needed. For configured system, URS, CS, FRS, DS, all 4 needed. Custom system, only URS, FRS, and DS needed. We will talk about these also in detail in other part of the class. No worry. Now, we have homework. We're going to create a team, and you're going to write URS and FRS that correspond to each URS. You will write URS, FRS for label printer. Submit to me for review. So I'm going to make a team out of you guys, and I'm also going to give you teacher assistant who are going to help you guys to understand how these things needs to be done, how it needs to be written. And, you're going to start from the scratch. Your system is label printer. Remember, not label printer. How you're going to print. So if you go in a system, for example, if I say, and if I go ahead and I say print. So I have a software here who helps me to print. Okay. So what are the functionality you need in order to print your label? That's what you're going to write requirements for. So in this system, I need a print button. I need a copies, how many copies I can have. I need, print all these. Now, these are your URS and these are your FRS. Then you're going to print both side, one side, all these URS, FRS. Then, what is your collated? What is your landscape orientation? Portrait, landscape. All these URS, FRS, you're going to write in this, for this system. Then you go to printer properties, and you see all these are done based on requirements. Everything you see here is nothing is done by chance. Everything is configured based on the requirement, whatever requirement you have said. So you're going to go there and write all these requirements. What are the things you need in your printing shortcuts? What are the things you need in your print paper quality? What are the things you need in your effect? I need to put effect confidential, draft, sample. These are your FRS. watermark, the system have watermarks is your URS. What are the watermarks? Confidential, draft, sample, none. All these are your FRS. This is how you need to write. Finishing, color, advanced, all these are your URS and FRS. This is how you're going to write your URS and FRS. Any question, concern here? Okay, let me build up the team. First, tell me who wants to volunteer as a team lead. Now, first, let me explain you the roles and responsibility of team lead. Team lead have to organize the meeting. Team lead have to make sure to ask me the question and deliver it into the draft to me. The final will be delivered in the class, but this is where your real work starts, and it is as it is done in the real world. Now, don't be worried. Most of you guys might be confused and a little bit how I'm going to write the requirement for label printer, and you're going to get through it, do the brainstorm. And of course, we're going to help you guys how to write those. So team lead have extra responsibility a little bit to organize the team meeting over the weekdays, whenever you guys have time, connect to your team members. Every team members had to contribute, and this is how it's done in the real world. So everything I'm going to teach you guys and walk you through, make you through, is for real world. This is how it's done, and this is what you have to learn, and this is what you have to do. Every team member had to respond to the team lead and connect to the team and work together to write URS and FRS. Now, I have uploaded also here your template. So you're going to go in the template, and these are the template you guys going to work with. Each and every document is written in template. And the template, most of the things are written already. So you don't have to do a lot of work on that regard, but it has to be written in this format. So you see all these documents are, mostly it's guided, everything is guided to you. You're going to come here and start, every category requirements, from general requirements, business workflow requirements, system security requirements, regulatory requirements, all these things you're going to start filling inside. Whatever category doesn't work for you guys, you can get rid of it, no problem. Or you can rename the category if you are coming up with a new category. So you have to categorize all the requirements and put it together in this document. And this is how you're going to present me this document. You're not going to give me written in a notebook. Every requirement has to be written in a proper Word document, proper template. And these are the work. And this is your startup first homework. Now, nobody can dare to become a lead, team lead. Come on, show me the leadership.
I'll be one, sir.
Okay. I can be one. I can try.
Okay, so Roselle, team A lead. Avas, team B lead. Manoji, do you have enough time and
yes,
bandwidth?
Sir, this time,
okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, Manoji is team C and Durgaji is team D lead. And it will give you very good, also exposure how to lead a team, because, if you have leaded a small team, it will give you edge when you go to work, because That's an added advantage. You know, you can talk, they're going to ask you in your interview, have you ever lead any team? And you can say, you can tell your experience, and that really helps to grow. Now team A, I'm going to put team A, Rosil. So I'm going to give you Milanji, you are in team A. I'm going to give you Samiksha, team A. I'm going to give you Chaitanya, team A. And I'm going to give you Sagar Thapa, team A. Okay. Team B, which is Avas. I'm going to give you Krista, the white girl. I'm going to give you Roshan Acharya. I'm going to give you Ayush. And I'm going to give you Avinash Srestha. Team C, Manojji, I'm going to give you Sonisha. I'm going to give you Sandesh. I'm going to give you Resam. I'm also going to give you Prajita. Okay, then team D, Durgaji, I'm going to give you Sagar Thapa.
Sagar is in team A, sir.
Sagar is team A? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, Sagar is team A. Yeah. So I'm going to give you Arpan. I'm going to give you Narendra. I am also going to give you Ishwar Yojan. And I'm also going to give you Sonika. Sonika Hada.
Sonika is in team C.
No, Sonika Hada.
Oh, there's two Sonikas?
Team C, yeah. Sonisha. Your team is Sonisha.
Sonisa.
Not Sonika, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, did I miss anybody? Oh, Arjunji. Arjunji, you choose which team you want to be. You have four team leads, Rosil, Avas, Manoj, and Durga. A, B, C, D. Which team you want to be? You're on mute.
A.
Team A. Okay, Rosil. All right. So Arjun Kharkaji is in team A. And I will post this into the class as well. So now everybody's responsibilities is you gonna connect to your team lead. You're gonna exchange your phone number, email, whatever, means of communication you want to have. Now there are ground rules. Guys, don't take girls' number and text them. even though she might like you or you might like her, it doesn't matter, but don't use that for that purpose. This is a very, very professional environment, and you have to maintain that, have a respect for each other. Also, some of the, females have, time constraints. They have babies, they have this, they have that, so be respectful and, find the best time which works for everybody. Work together and do URS FRS for label printer. Now, every team you have, somebody who can also help you, and I'm going to assign you assistant teacher. So you're going to connect to your assistant teacher, and assistant teacher TA will also help you how to write it, how to understand it, but you have to start from your own scratch and start building it. Any question, concern?
I can't hear you.
What? Yes. You can't hear me? Hello? Sorry, you guys can't hear me?
We can.
We can hear you.
Okay. All right, so this is how it's gonna be, and any question, concern? So you're gonna communicate with your team leads. I will post it in the class, and everybody be responsive. If I see that you're not responding, one of my class, I have dropped 3 students, so if you're not fit for this, if you don't know what you need to do, ask me, check with me, but be responsive, connect to your team lead and work together. I don't want to hear any complaints that, oh no, somebody is not responding, somebody is not connecting, somebody is not, participating. Then there is no point doing this class. You have to participate. You have to contribute from your side. How are you going to build this URS and FRS? Think about it. What all the things you need in your label printer, and you have to write it down in the document. So a developer can develop a label printer for you. That's the job here. So any question, concern you guys have? You all looks a little confused, but you can do it. Trust me.
So this is the assignment for the next week, right?
This is the assignment for the next week. So by Friday, okay. I need to see your draft at least. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
And team leads, if anybody is not responding from your team, let me know. Okay. Team members, go to your class here, and let me show you again the class. If somebody don't know how to use your class yet, you should know already, but just in case, if you have confusion, you have to be responsive here. It's a part of class. It's a part of training. So you need to start using your class. And this is where you're going to go, and let me show you your classroom. So you go to your classroom, which is your class is class D. And here, each team lead, go here and put your name and phone number. And then under that, everybody gonna put their phone number. And so if you don't remember which team you are, I will post it again here anyway, and then start working together. And go to and I'll make sure I'll upload an example as well. That's just an example. You have to write down your requirements for this label printer. Yeah, go ahead.
That's why I was saying before that I am still entitled with the class B. So
Okay, I'll change you.
That'll be difficult for me.
Yeah, no, text me. I'll change you.
Sure.
To class D. Yeah.
Yeah, that will be easier, right?
Whosoever is missing in class D, text me. I'll add you in class D. Text me with your email. Okay.
Yeah, you assigned me Ishwar, but I don't see him in the list.
Ishwar is not here today, but he will join. Somebody has to communicate. I'll tell him to
So I just want to clear one confusion. So class D is our entire class that we have.
Class D is your entire class, yes. Now it has 4 teams. Team A,
so
Team B, Team C.
Right?
Yeah.
So if I post something in class D, that means it will go to the whole class.
Whole class, yes.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So let me see here.
What do I have to send you, sir, to?
Okay, so who all are missing in this class? Chaitanya, what is your email starts with? You're on mute.
I saw the class code and I added myself to the class.
You did? Okay.
Yes, just now I did. Please.
Okay. Okay. Manoj, what
Yes,
is
sir.
your email starts with?
SM.
SM. S Manoj Raj?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'm sending you the invite.
Yeah, those sir, I'm missing as well from the classroom.
Okay. Why it's not adding? Okay. Manoj, you are invited. Okay. Who else you said?
Sir.
Abbas, what's your email starts with?
So I just texted you. It's going to be my first name, last name.
Okay.
Actually, I just texted you on your private chat.
Yes, sir. I mean.
Got it. Okay. Who else is missing?
Drew, can you check my name? Is it added properly? Means I'm there in that.
Okay.
Chaitanya starts with Chaitanya.
Okay. Hold on.
And me too. I just want to make sure. I don't think I'm in there.
Okay. Krista, what your email starts with?
K. KBE.
KBE.
TT.
TT.
E.
E.
V.
V.
Y.
What?
Y.
Why?
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 Accent, okay.
Is it KBETTEVY?
Y 110 at gmail.com.
110 at gmail.com.
There I am.
Okay. I'm also gonna add, see Chaitanya. What's your email starts, Chaitanya?
CHAI Chaitanya. CHAI.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chaitanya Gata. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I'm sending you invite anyway.
I think okay. I'm already there in that.
Yeah, you're already there. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So this is where you're gonna write all. Yeah. So see, Manoj wrote his email. So just add your, team C. You're gonna write under Manoj here. Go here and put your phone number and email. Now, really respect the professionalism, guys. Again, it happened in one class, so I have to mention that. Don't take that number and just use it for any other purpose. Everybody's information is before calling them, be courteous to text them first. Hey, are you available? Can you talk now? And that's how you have to communicate. That is the way of professionals, and you have to make sure. And also team members, you have to respond back. If you cannot talk that time, at least let them know that, hey, can I talk to you in the evening or afternoon or whenever time you have. So that's how you guys gonna communicate with each other. Most of the job right now, you might, once you get it, it is a remote job. So you guys need to learn and get used to this kind of communication and working remote, and how you're going to organize the meeting and get things done. This is very important part. Any other question, concern you guys have? Feel free.
Your homework about the concern to the homework.
Yes, go ahead, Bhanus.
I have a question of where to go and how to start this one. I got confused.
Okay, very good. So you are in a team A. So Roselle gonna create a meeting, Google Meet, or she gonna email you. First you share your information. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna download the template from the class, URS FRS template. And you're gonna, once you have the template, that's when you're gonna start writing your URS and FRS, discuss among yourself, go category by category, and just write simple, what you want from the system, in a simple word. Like your label printer, has to print 100 copies per minute. Your label printer have to have, your label printer have, a portrait and landscape orientation. Things like that. These are your requirements, and then go further into functional requirement and see what are the other aspects of it you can add. So this is how you're going to write, and you guys can communicate with me even in the middle of the week. If you guys have any questions, concerns, confusions, also your teacher assistants, which I'm going to add it in your class, they're going to help you as well. To clarify your questions. But mostly I have seen the successful teams had at least 3 meetings in the week in order to do enough brainstorm and get your requirements on the place.
Okay.
So you need a system, you need a label printer to print a label, these kind of labels, which comes on a medicine. Am I right? So you're not going to talk about label itself. You're going to talk how to print hundreds and hundreds and thousands of labels. You are in a real world, and it's a real example. I have validated label printer. So this is where you're going to start and learn how these things are done. This is how you're going to understand the whole cycle of validation, where it starts from and where it ends, how this validation going to happen. This is your first document. Focus on this, start writing your requirement. So team leads, get information of your team members. I might add few more members as well, but they can join. Later as well in your team, but I'll make sure that they will connect with you right away, because some of them are missing here today class, and they will join next class. Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'll contact with Roselle where to go first, and I can do you show me the example of the medicine label.
Yeah.
Every day I'm working this label work in the pharmacy.
Yes. So you're not going to write requirement for label. You're going to write requirement for label printer.
Okay, I understand it. I got it.
So printer, what are the functionality you need in your printer in order to print hundreds and thousands of label? Every pharmaceutical, biotech, medical device company have label printer, and that has to be validated. It's a law. So how you gonna write first requirements? What are the things you need in your label printer to be efficient to print the label? That is your task, homework.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. Any other question, concern? Feel free.
But, I have a not question, but I am happy now because you use the word like a law or lawyer like this. I am the advocate, not over here in Nepal. So I'm happy today.
Very good. Yeah, you're gonna connect. You're gonna understand all those things. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
No problem. In the end, everything will make sense. But to start from your first homework, and slowly, you're gonna fill up the gap, fill up the dots, and it's a journey. We have started just now, but this journey gonna go all the way. After 2 months, you can make sense out of it, the whole thing. If I tell you everything now, you're not gonna understand. So I have to go step by step. First, take baby steps, one step at a time, one stairs at a time. Okay. In the end, after 2 months, you're all gonna become validation engineer. All right, so that concludes the class for today. Unless if you have any question, you guys can check with me, put it in the class. So, if I answer in the class, everybody can see the answer. Also, you can text me personally. All of you have my number. And mostly you guys gonna talk to your TA, teacher assistants. I'm gonna give you also for this homework. Okay.